At least you are like, 15 or what?
Yeah, I'm still in high school, so I'm no longer anxious, little depressed mess. I am happy with life and everything.
What life?
Hello and welcome to the CyberNews. Hello and welcome to the CyberNews weekly podcast. This week we will talk crypto kidnappings, China's answer to ChatGPT, and potentially AI sabotage. My name is Niamh Ansel. I'm a journalist here at CyberNews, and joined with me is Ginteros Radauskas.
Present.
And Jurgita Lapanita.
Hello.
So, want to hear a story, guys?
Oh, always.
I have a little
We
story.
write so many, we want to hear one for.
Well, yes. So...
You're very excited.
I am very excited today.
Not a funny story, though.
No,
is
it's really not a funny story. So we're moving on, firstly, to crypto kidnappings. Wait.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll set the scene. In France, a plan is being formed. What do you think the plan is?
To sip some wine and enjoy the sun.
You'd think in a paradise like France. But instead it's... Oh, this is terrible. This is awful.
Going such an interesting story.
This is going terribly.
I mean,
Okay, here's a story of a crypto kidnapping. There's a guy called David Balland who is part of a Bitcoin manufacturer crypto hardware company called Ledger in France. He and his wife are kidnapped by a bunch of bandits and they're held for 48 hours until police eventually find them. What is more harrowing about the story is that another co-founder of Ledger, a guy called Eric, he was supposedly sent a video of David's hand being mutilated by...
And David is the guy who was kidnapped,
yes,
right?
David
Okay.
and his wife have been kidnapped by some creepy assailants. And they're held for 48 hours, like I said. Eric was sent a video of the attackers mutilating David's hand, you'd think for ransom, right? You know, like typical ransom kidnapping things.
Yeah, that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
You kidnap a person, you cut off their finger, right?
Aha.
You send to have as proof that you have them.
Yeah, exactly. So Forbes actually said that the attackers cut off his finger and sent it, you know, the old-fashioned way. You sent it in a little letter, you know? You send it in a little letter and then it gets delivered at Eric's house, the co-founder of Ledger, and they go, okay, well, he's got my friend because this is certainly his finger. And although how you would know that, I don't know. But...
And so they asked for money.
Yes, the amount...
Crypto.
Yes, the amount is unknown, however. But... media outlets have just said that it's a large sum of money in crypto.
How rich those guys, those founders of the company are? Do we know that?
Yeah, well, the company... I don't have it down.
Yeah, but it's safe to say they're
Hundreds
pretty
of millions,
public individuals, though. Because otherwise, how would you know who to kidnap, really?
Yeah.
So, I mean... This is not the first case of crypto kidnappings at all. I mean, they started basically when crypto started, really. There were cases in Ukraine in 2017, in Bangladesh, obviously elsewhere in the world. And I would presume that...
Canada?
Yeah. Well, you cannot really count them all because a lot of those are not even going public. Because to me, crypto is still a bit... It's going... up there, right, on the surface, but it's still a mysterious industry, so to speak. So some guy who's rich in crypto is kidnapped and then pays a ransom and is freed, and no one needs to know about it, I guess, because it's crypto.
But I'm thinking, why are people like... There's so many stories of this. This is the story that I was telling is like the 7th.
This year?
Recent
ones over the past few months.
I think at least 3 happened since January, like the beginning of January.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, why are people like dumb thinking that they'll get away with this because it's related to crypto, or
do you think do you think a lot of people are not getting away with this? Because I think a lot of people are getting away with
but
this.
what I'm saying is that you don't hear about Mark Zuckerberg or like big tech CEOs or like CEOs of even smaller companies that are being kidnapped for their cash. So why are people being kidnapped for crypto?
Do you think Zuckerberg holds crypto?
Probably.
Also try kidnapping Musk.
Yeah.
It's way harder.
yeah, got that. But like maybe like smaller companies.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Who knows? But again, I think crypto is a little bit easier target because it is the law enforcement is catching up now, and it's they're finding ways to detect the routes of money traveling around because the presumption of the criminals is that it's hard to trace. It's basically not in the system, so we're gonna kidnap this guy. He's gonna give us the key to the whatever vault, and then he will transfer us these crypto assets, and we'll live our life better off, and that's it. I mean, but
they weren't. The 10 were arrested.
Yeah, in this case.
Yeah, in this case, they weren't better off.
But I don't think this has anything to do with crypto, actually. It's just that, some guy who suddenly got rich and probably, for one reason or another, publicized about that, right? And then, there are very old-fashioned crooks who the only way that's how they know how to steal money, like
Chop a
more
finger off.
advanced ones like would hack into the crypto, right, into wallets, because still quite a lot of those sort of crimes going on, right? But some decide like, oh, okay, so I just put a bag on that person's head, like chop off a finger, ask for ransom. That's how you get caught. You don't get caught mostly by hacking into crypto. So I think that just, would be the same if I would get rich, let's say, because I would, sell flowers to Musk and he would pay me $1 million, and someone would want to get that $1 million out of me. Or if I would win, let's say, a lottery ticket and publicize about, my luck and whatnot. So I would be at risk of being kidnapped, just the same as this guy, I think.
Can only do that in Lithuania, I guess. Win the lottery and then you have it on your town sign.
Yes.
I'm a #1 lottery winner.
Did it happen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
I've forgotten which place, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
The central Lithuania, yeah. But so there's a sign when you are driving into that town that, it like had the biggest, what was it?
Yeah,
the biggest
like,
lottery win or something.
Yeah.
That the most successful lottery winner lives right here.
Yeah. It's like, bing, 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 here you go, here's your target.
all right.
As they say, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but
there will be signs.
My finger, making rounds in an envelope.
But
Send it off.
But I would counter with an idea that crypto is still a factor in this because it's where the money is.
Well,
these
yeah,
days.
of course. It is.
It's where the new money is and where most people are newly rich, I would say. I mean, yes, of course, you can have a great idea and make a lot of money with it and then become rich the old-fashioned way, but in the digitalized world, I mean, the way you get rich most often, I guess, is through crypto and through digital currencies and whatnot. So that actually also correlates to the rate of Bitcoin these days because it's going up all the time. So people presume, rightly or wrongly, that there's a lot of money in that. So, and they still think that it is unregulated and it's untraceable. It is, but they still assume that, and that's why they target the public crypto people.
To an extent, but you can trace a person way easier than you can trace their money. That's the funny part.
But the finger, when it gets chopped off and in the post, you never know where it's gonna go. Anywho,
but you don't need a bank really. You don't need an armored truck to ransom to rob a bank or whatever. You just need a person to kidnap him and maybe just softly tell him, hey, nothing's gonna happen. We're only gonna cut your finger or whatever.
Or like get this
grow it back, and Elon Musk will grow it back on you. But yeah.
Okay, so these rich people are smart one way or another in founding the companies and getting rich in the new kind of way, but some of the crooks aren't. They're like,
Yeah, exactly.
no
Yeah.
innovation on that side.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
But there was one observer of the industry, I can't remember his name, but he posted on social media saying that, this industry is now already public enough so that people should pay much more attention to their like personal security and surroundings because people are going after the crypto guys.
Well, yeah, there was this case in Canada where this like crypto guy's son was basically going on the internet saying my dad's a crypto millionaire, and then he got kidnapped. So
Yeah. Well, you drive Lamborghinis and whatnot. We had this guy here in our country, a crypto guy who drove a very luxurious car. And I don't think it ended well for him, but not because of
But
the kidnapping.
he wasn't kidnapped though.
No, he wasn't. He
maybe just a scammer.
Yes, and caught in their illegal ways by law enforcement.
Yeah.
He's cooked.
Well, he's cooked. Well, there are other people that are capitalizing on new innovations to scam people out of their money via crypto. DeepSeek is China's answer to ChatGPT. And as we've seen, people are, tokens? People are creating fake tokens of the DeepSeek. DeepSeek. Yes? Good. Got that right. Good. Nice. Yes.
So it's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
so-
anything that's happening.
Yeah, so while it's not that new, right? The world suddenly learned about the DeepSeek and its capabilities, and we saw, the stock market nearly crashing, investors panicking, whatnot. We can talk about why a bit later, but obviously, who are the first to catch all those trends, like scammers and crooks, more innovative than the ones we just talked about, right? So obviously they try to capitalize on essentially just issuing DeepSeek related coins that had nothing to do with DeepSeek, right? But you being, an opportunist, what you do, you get online, right? And then you think, okay, so this is trending. How do I get on board with DeepSeek and make as much money as possible early in the game, So obviously, quite a lot of people try to invest in some crypto coins, thinking they were actually investing in DeepSeek owner-related crypto coins, while DeepSeek said, okay, we issued no cryptocurrency whatsoever. And there have been at least a few DeepSeek named coins, right, that were issued by scammers, what they want just to kind of, capitalize on the trend, get people's money, and then do the pump and dump.
Or rug pull, just leave.
Yeah, just
Abandon
the usual scam, and it's already here, even though, like, I guess 90% of the people worldwide haven't learned about DeepSeek just yet. And, so many are already being scammed.
Yeah, but
Wonderful.
doesn't it sound a bit like there's a hyped up thing in the media or in the headlines, and then the scammers or whatnot, they like catch it and then try to use it for their own nefarious ways. Say before the World Cup, it usually happens as well for football or Olympic scams and whatnot. So there's an event or a happening or an incident or whatnot, and then people are the criminals, let's say, they are latching onto that.
I thought that was what I was trying to say, but yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, trend, yes.
Yes. What is DeepSeek? Tell us all. Ginter us.
A DeepSeek is a Chinese AI company backed by this hedge fund, and it has created a AI assistant, which
like
is
ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
As you said yourself, yes. China's answer to
I
ChatGPT.
believe I've said that twice now. Sorry, please continue. I'm just mocking myself.
So the AI assistant was launched last week by this Chinese startup, DeepSeek. and it's free, it's open source, and allegedly it uses less data. That means less computing power at a fraction of the cost of services available currently. For example, that same ChatGPT, because you need to subscribe to certain features of it and all that. But this one is open source. It's free, and it's again allegedly not even worse than what the other AI assistants are capable of offering to people. So that has kind of initiated this frenzy really on the global markets, especially because if you look at the numbers, they're just stunning. And I will get back to the price of making this this AI assistant. But firstly, Nvidia. Everyone was talking about Nvidia, has been talking about it for the last, I don't know, 3 years or something. It's only just recently was the biggest or the highest valued company in the world. But its stock plunged by $600 billion.
600 billion.
Yes.
Which is only, what, 17% for
Yeah,
Nvidia?
which is only 17% of
Just
their valuation. Yeah.
Have the...
But it's plunged during a single day of trading on Monday by 600 billion bloody helly dollars. So it's the single largest one-day loss ever for any public company.
That's
ever.
nuts.
If I may inject myself, I will
Yes.
explain a little
Don't
bit.
eject yourself.
I will.
Oh, yeah. So it starts with no.
Everyone just, kind of was very hyped about AI when ChatGPT was here, but it is said that it costs around $100 million to train ChatGPT. DeepSeek, $6 million. So what does that
But
mean?
that's the headline, really, because if you dig a bit deeper, it's not 6 million.
It's not that simple, yes, but just that's why the market is a little bit panicky and trying to figure this out. Obviously, there's more information coming out, but essentially, the worry is that, and why Nvidia plunged is, that okay, so we are betting on AI. For that, we need chips. If we need way less computing power to to train similar models as ChatGPT like DeepSeek, we don't need that many chips. Meaning maybe Nvidia is overvalued, right? And it's not essentially as powerful as a company as we thought it would be, because now the world has been on chips, right? And now DeepSeek comes with a kind of promise, okay, we might not actually need that many chips. Essentially, that's what that is. Why there's everyone's kind of freaking out. Maybe it's just trying to figure things out, right? Because it's like information is still coming out. There are a lot of worries, for starters, company being Chinese, and we're talking now like US, China, tech wars, AI arms race, whatnot.
And Ernestus checked it out, and it's pretty
Weird. It was
weird.
that surprising, though. It's a Chinese model.
Yeah.
And even Gemini from Google was censoring answers about Xi Jinping and Winnie the Pooh. So
Okay, fair.
So it depends on the ecosystem, I guess, where it was created. And to the investors, they don't care about this. They just see
Just
the
as long
numbers.
as it works, yeah.
They just see the numbers, the costs, and they're surprised and worried that what the AI companies have been telling them for all these months, because it turns out it can, like Brigitte says, you don't maybe need that many high-end chips, or that it's just much cheaper to build these models. And open source also a very good argument for like curious software developers around the world, because that means that it's AI could be, again, because it's still very early days and we don't know yet. Maybe they stole something from OpenAI, because there was, if you remember, an incident in OpenAI. The headlines said back then that only internal conversations between OpenAI employees were stolen. But let's say if the Chinese hackers were there, let's not be naive and presume that they only cared about the discussions and not the code itself. And if they took a part of the code and they could, again, the presumption now, the official one, let's say, is that they took Meta's Llama, learned from it and improved it and tweaked it a bit, and then made it as good as the Western AI models on at a fraction of the cost, and because Llama is open source, that helped. And Llama's own creators, Meta's people, chief scientist, I guess, LeCun is also saying that if you think this is about the U.S. and China, you're wrong, because this is about open source versus proprietary, and open source clearly wins the argument because it's cheaper, and that means also more available to like mid-sized companies and whatnot, democratizing access to AI.
The adoption could happen way faster, if not for employees, saboteurs, but introduces a whole lot of new dangers, right?
Oh yeah.
The sources that it is trained on, like GitHub, right? So now what the threat actors are trying to do, so inject some, malicious data into GitHub so that, then in turn DeepSeek gets to, I don't know, like spread malware or malicious bits of code and whatnot. So it's really, really interesting. It's just kind of a bit funny to see everyone freaking out, even though we know that, Chinese science has been there for a really long time, and it's not that they need to actually steal something. They've been investing in AI and elsewhere for decades to kind of catch up and essentially then at some point win the tech race.
It's a pretty conceited kind of point of view to think, oh, they must have stolen something from us if it's that good. Maybe it just is that good.
They could have stolen, but with open source, again, if they did use Llama and some other models, I can't remember the name of it, so there's no need to steal anything. But I will still presume personally that they did, because that's just the way Chinese are working with intellectual property for ages, really. So, but again, I mean, this has been a good week for China. A couple of weeks. First, they didn't blink on TikTok. Trump blinked first. That means it's kind of in a death row inmate kind of phase where it was injected this dose of deadly medicine, but it's not dying, so it's half acuted, not electrocuted yet, and no one knows what's going to happen. Well, in the U.S., people are electrocuted.
But you just have to wait.
No, it depends on the state. What are we talking about?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was my bad. Anyways, I didn't get the analogy.
The U.S. has been trying to kill off TikTok in America for years now, and it's not dying, and Trump is actually trying to revive it. And it's not a good look for Trump. It's a better look for China, I guess, because they didn't back off. They didn't blink again. Trump did, and he's now trying to salvage this deal, joint venture, whatever. Microsoft is mentioning every possible company.
Is Russia working on any sort of AI model?
What is that?
I don't know. It's so interesting.
I don't know.
Usually we had, U.S. and Russian scientists trying kind of racing. And now
I don't know.
They are building the whole internet of their own, so they must have something.
They got something.
Let's figure this out and come back to
this is important
episode next week.
If they do release some AI miracles, I think they're gonna be the only ones that are gonna find out in their closed information system. Anyways, but
I want to know.
Go to Russia then.
No.
I can figure it out from here.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you. Close enough.
Thank you.
So the TikTok debacle happened at first, and then.
But I don't understand how that's a win for China.
It's not a loss for China. They didn't back down. They didn't blink. They didn't want to sell TikTok, and they are not selling TikTok. And now
it's not China who owns TikTok, for starters.
Yes, it's the guy who's Singaporean. Let's not forget. He's Singaporean.
And then okay, even DeepSeek is not a Chinese state fund. Let's presume that again.
But isn't it that every business or something like that, it owns 1%, like CCP? Yes.
Well, I was joking. Every business is not really a private business in China.
We could derail real quick, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, well, you started.
Sorry.
Anyway, so DeepSeek is now dropped onto the world as well. So even Trump is calling, it's a wake-up call for our AI industry. Yes, it is. And another good look for China and Chinese science, I guess.
I
and
think the
developers.
best look is for small and medium enterprises who get
Yeah,
to,
I agree.
implement at a bigger scale and faster some affordable AI model. Time will show, but no one will care. It's Chinese or US. It's
Yeah.
like what matters is costs here. So
Yeah.
that might change economy quite significantly.
Yeah, and I read this interesting and thoughtful kind of a little summary of what's going on by a CEO of Box, a company in California, but I can't remember the name of the dude. I'm sorry, but he like told his subscribers to imagine two scenarios. Under one, which we have been living pretty recently, AI is expensive, it's proprietary, belonging to the few big companies, which is the case really in the US, right? OpenAI, Google, Apple, Amazon, and several others. Yeah, well, they're developing these models. They're saying it's all very pricey and stuff. It's going to cost us, like Zuckerberg said on Friday, I think, we're going to invest $65 billion in AI projects in 2025. But then again, then this release comes out with about $6 million that DeepSeek actually invested in. Okay, not in the whole creation of its assistant.
In the chips.
In the final training run, which is only the final stage. It's the tip of the iceberg, really. It says. I mean,
Also, data information comes from China.
Yeah, true.
So,
but then the paper is available to everyone who can. You can read it now.
We trust their papers now.
Jesus.
In papers we trust.
No, not in. I mean, there's like different way of sharing information. That's for sure. And there are questions that need to be answered about security by design. And we already witnessed all the biases and hallucinations by the U.S. models, right? I just can't wait to see what biases and hallucinations DeepSeek has built in.
Yeah.
Because it's trained on what data. I can't wait. I can't wait.
But again, I mean, yes, there is censorship on DeepSeek's answers and all that. But I wouldn't personally want to concentrate on DeepSeek specifically and the fact that it's a Chinese model, because, like you yourself say, I mean, it's a precedent. Let's say it's an example that models can be built on the cheap, basically.
We don't know. We didn't check. That's the data we're getting from China.
Okay,
and also,
that's
I don't
presumably...
and it hasn't been corroborated, like this number. Nobody has said, this is exactly 6 million or whatever that we've...
6 million, like I said.
Compared to 100 million.
The true cost is probably around $1 billion. Someone has calculated that it must have been something like that. Because the final run, yes, it's these chips that are allowed under export controls by the US, but then the earlier phases of the whole process must have used other chips, and we don't know. Maybe they were actually breaking some rules or whatnot.
Well, precisely, and also no one will care about the propaganda bit that, big deal, so they censor some of the things. That's not why companies are implementing, right? That might... matter to us as end users, but I don't think that will matter when companies will want to adopt those models widely. And also I think that the interesting part and discussion here will be about what companies get to implement the DeepSeek model first. Will that be the US companies or the Chinese companies? Because I bet in China it's not that easy to kind of lay people off, right? Because there might be some, state protection and whatnot. They're like way more control state, right? And we know that it's going to be the capitalist states who are going to be the first ones to try and implement. And they're trying to do that AI models at scale because it's beneficial. It means revenue and whatnot.
Cheaper.
So it's cheaper, unless we sabotage.
Aha, sabotage, yes.
Can I just make one final point? And
you can, yes.
It's
I
not my...
wanted to make a smooth transition, but...
What's your last point? Go on.
Do you know Matthew Prince?
No. Wait, rings a bell.
CEO of Cloudflare.
Ah, yes.
So he's happy about this development from China or whatever. But I liked his quote a lot because he said, "It turns out that turning off mothballed nuclear power plants was never going to be the answer to AI's problems or whatnot." So that's my final point.
Right.
And
I
also
didn't know
my
what that
second
meant, but
my second point is that I don't think we have to be naive and think that China, with 5 million engineers graduating every year, will never catch up to Western technology. They will, and they will overperform us.
well said, my
I
guy.
was-
Well said.
I was so
thank
worried.
you, and shut up.
I think
Yappa,
it is
yappa,
time
yappa.
to stop the yappa.
Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. If you've reached the end, you get a gold star. Hopefully you'll be with us next time. See ya. Bye bye.